Everyone loves a good trumpet fanfare, right? Trumpet fanfares are kind of the sound that you would associate with ceremony. It's the sound you would associate with an announcement coming, a proclamation, a glorious moment. When you hear those trumpets resound, you think something pretty important is about to happen. Now, for some of you, you like to be the person that when the trumpets sound, it's about you. For most people I meet, they like to when the trumpets sound for it not to be about them. They don't want to be the focus of attention. There's this weird balance between wanting to have occasions marked and not wanting to be embarrassed or put under the microscope or have everybody's attention on you. And yet our job as parents is to try and find these moments, these occasions to celebrate our children with all of their different personalities and do it in a way that speaks to their love language, speaks to their personality, allows family to get involved, and also doesn't crush them for life. We've all had those embarrassing situations where for me as a young kid it was, hey Juz, can you get the trumpet out and play it for all of the family that are sitting in the lounge room? If you want to know how to freak me out, that would be the way to do it. Your parents did something like that to you. They made you do a somersault that you just learnt at gymnastics, or show the painting you just made, or whatever it happened to be. And most of the time it was just because people were proud of us or wanted to show off what it was that we had done. And you recognize over time that it's actually important. Yeah, it's important for you to mark occasions, but mostly in community, it's important that the wider community gets to mark the occasion with you. So at this point, I'd like to stop and apologize to my mother because, what else would father figures be about other than apologies to our children and our parents as we're figuring this stuff out. I'm apologizing to my mother today because I didn't do a graduation out of university. I finished my university degree. I squeezed a 3-year degree into 4.5 years, and I got through it. And there was a moment where the university sent me a letter and said, would you like to graduate? Now, me having absolutely no idea that what that actually meant, basically all I saw was I had to hire or rent a hat, rent a square hat thing, and rent I don't know, what is that thing, a gown, and show up on a day where there was going to be hundreds of other people that I didn't know and, not necessarily had done, the same course as me. And I would walk onto stage for 5 seconds, shake a person's hand and walk off with a post-pack tube in my hand that apparently had a little certificate in it. So for me, I looked at it and said, that's $80 or $100 or whatever it was. I don't want to spend. And then it said, if you want other people to come to the graduation, here's how much the tickets are. Now, I was on Austudy, I was living away from home, I had to pay for petrol that day, so I said no, thinking I'd made a very wise, economical choice. That, and I didn't want to walk up onto a stage, shake a guy's hand, and walk off with a tube post-pack. I still haven't lived that down, because I found out years later that as a 20-year-old, I didn't really understand what ceremony meant. I didn't understand what it meant to other people. I didn't understand what it would mean to me. And I certainly didn't understand that people actually like getting those weird photographs and putting them in frames and keeping them on the wall for the next 50 years. All right, so now I'm a parent. I've got 5 kids. I'm trying my best to not embarrass them, but also remind them that ceremony and marking occasion can matter. We've done this in things like, you get a baptism certificate when you get baptized. You get a first Bible when you do that confession of faith. There are those kind of moments in faith life that remind you that a historic thing actually happened. And so dear listener, I'm trying to get better at it. But as you know, this is not really my skill set. For that, we need a McSolvin. My name's Justin. This is Father Figures. We haven't exactly formalized our relationship through vows, but in sickness and in health, this is Heath McSolvin. What's up, fella?
Oh, Father Figures, man. We're connected as dads.
Mm-hmm.
It's the strongest connection that two males can have, really.
Pretty much. Bearded friends, bald friends. I'm trying to catch up to you in the rounded T-shirt midreef kind of competition. How's that working out for you?
Well, I have about 4 T-shirts, I would suspect you probably have 4 outfit changes per day. So I'm tipping that you're beating me in
Mm.
that department. Anything fashion related, you're going to beat most people, but especially me.
I don't know if you can claim t-shirts that cover a dad gut as a fashion choice. It's more of a practical get through life without causing too much trouble for other people choice.
It's all about comfort at this age, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, and causing as many. Anyway, I'm just going to leave that alone because I'm going to dig a hole for myself. We will mark this special occasion with the beginning. Back to your childhood. We love to zoom back to your childhood because it is full of
Mm.
wonderful stories and beautiful moments and tears and laughter. So if I was to say, just because I feel like this is a good, if I was to say what's a highlight, just like the biggest occasion you can remember for you as a kid.
Oh man. I don't know what the answer is because there'd probably be lots of them. And I was actually saying to somebody on the phone earlier this morning, I've got a terrible memory for the past. You
Hmm.
know, one of my best mates who I was in the Wise Guys with, the comedy group I was in for a long time, Warren. I always say, if anybody wants to know about my childhood, ask Warren because he remembers more of it than I do. I don't remember
Right.
much. But
Warren's the
uh,
encyclopedia.
Warren is, and he is an encyclopedia. However, as I sit here at my desk at home, you know, behind me, and I can grab it in a sec. I've got a trophy from a basketball finalist that I was in 1982. That's, you know, I do remember those basketball moments. You know, like I don't think we won the grand final because we were just a finalist.
All
Um,
right. I was
you
thinking,
know,
which trophy is it? Is it the little one or the big one?
well, you know, hang on.
And did you then go to the store and get your own trophy because you figured out you could just buy one?
Nah, back in the 80s, man, we didn't know that you could do that. 1981
Was it? Look at that little guy,
finalist,
finalist. Not.
and then a
Oh, it's got your
beautiful
name engraved on
inscription,
it.
Heath McSullivan.
It's got your name on it. By the way, that dude
Yeah.
looks nothing like you.
It's a much. I didn't even turn out to look like that. This dude's got more hair on his head than I ever did.
Yeah. But I must
Uh,
say that chiseled jaw, I know that's there under the beard for sure.
and
So,
hold on, I got one
what
more.
is
Hold on,
going on?
hold
Oh my
on.
goodness,
You've
everybody
asked,
hold on. This is going to be worth it. This is definitely going to be worth
you've
it.
asked me.
If you're listening
Uh,
to this as a non-visual media, by the way, I'm going to
I know it's
try my
great,
best
but that's all good.
to
Diamond
describe.
Valley Eagles grand finalist 1982.
Oh,
Heath
in a
McSullivan.
coin. Oh my
The
goodness,
coin.
it's in like a collector's like case.
It's in the
It's in a
original case
PVC
still.
case. Yeah,
Yep. You know, that's been sort of cracked and chipped and,
but
you
the
know, there it
metal
is.
has stayed intact.
I don't know how, but it has.
Yeah,
So you talk about these childhood memories. I mean, here I am. What's that? 1981. That's a long time ago.
yeah.
Um, I still got them. So clearly, these things meant something. Only 2 trophies I ever probably
So
really won, but you know, meaningful moments. Is, you know, what do these probably cost back in the day? $10 or something.
yeah,
But really meaningful.
that might be worth 17 Bitcoin now. I don't know.
I don't even know what a Bitcoin is.
No, it's a bit of a. So okay, so the point is this: somewhere in your psyche, as you've moved house, moved towns,
Mm,
packed up and gone into the next space, that thing has stayed with you. It gets
yep.
packed every single time, and
Yeah.
again, not only does it get packed, it's not been left in a box in the garage. That's
No.
that's near you, beside you, on your desk. That was within reach of your podcast mic, my friend. A
Yeah, it was.
1981.
Yep.
Okay.
Tucked behind the computer. That when the laptop closes, it just
Yeah.
reminds me of how brilliant I once was.
So marking special occasions is, we know it's important. Why? That's a personal achievement from you as a child,
Yep.
uh, and it's remained important to you personally. Do you remember if mum and dad were at the game? Do you remember who the coach was? Do you remember where you were? Is there other memories around that?
No, I don't remember who the coach was. I remember probably one of my mates that I played basketball with because we're still mates now. I would strongly suggest that at least my dad was there because my dad was a basketballer. He was the reason I got into basketball.
Hmm.
Mum, maybe. I couldn't tell you for sure. But I certainly remember it. I remember I can picture the basketball stadium. I can picture me as what I would have been 10 years old back then. I can picture all of those things, and really
Mm.
vividly marked in my brain. What about you? You've
So the
surely got some kind of trombone, award somewhere. Yeah, some
what?
some bloke holding a trombone for
This, this is,
best
can I just
trombonist,
say,
1986. I don't know.
there were definitely things like brass band competitions and stuff, but there were Stedfords, there were things like that. I never went for a Stedfords. I hated the idea of it's funny, and again, one of these little things that you start to learn about yourself. I don't particularly enjoy being a soloist. I don't
Mm.
enjoy being the only one on the platform. You probably know that about me more than most. I do much better when I've got a team around me.
Yep.
And so I even look at that. I wasn't into solo sports. I was into team sports, those sorts of observations. So the idea of doing even my AMEB for all the musos out there, the AMEB is like a way of you get certificates as you go up the gradings in your chosen instrument as you get
Oh,
better and
yeah,
better.
right,
And
okay.
so it's an exam. That's an exam. So it's not a trophy. It's an exam that you go through to get. So I did some AMEB gradings, things like that. But I don't have any certificates on the wall. I don't have any trophies. I don't have any band posters around. So
Wow.
I don't know what that says about me. I don't know what my therapist would say about me.
Yet you
Um,
do have Paul Coleman albums on your shelf, I discovered the other day.
yeah, I've got Gus albums. I do have Gus albums. They are there.
Yep,
Um, but when I think about mementos of things that I have achieved,
yep.
even I was saying to someone this week, as a musician now, as an older guy, still releasing music, it's a really weird thing having to release it on digital media because
Mm,
to get people to hear the music, you have to self promote. You have to use your own social media and
yep,
say, I'm good at this thing. Please like
yeah,
the thing that I'm, which is
yeah,
very, very different to standing in front of an audience or selling an album at a merch table after an event.
yep, yep,
So,
for sure.
so to very broadly answer your question, yes, I do have things. I did find an under 14s basketball trophy from Currumborough, and my dad
Mm.
was at the game, and I did top score in that game. One of them was with a reverse layup whilst wearing my brand new Jordan 6s.
Oh,
So,
my
you know,
goodness.
the OGs that if I'd known back then to hold on to them for 30 years, I could have sold some sneakerhead, the OGs, for some stupid
My
amount of money.
goodness. You
But
had
those
Jordans, like,
I
that's how
had,
young
I had
you are.
that's right. I had the 6s the year they were released, and then
Man,
yeah. But
I'm
I
so
wore those
old.
shoes. Uh,
I'm gonna say I'm so old, I only have Wilt Chamberlains, that was
which were basically just clogs. Let's be
yeah,
honest.
it
They
was
hadn't
lift.
figured out rubber
Shoes with
by that.
lifts on them, yeah, to make you nice and tall.
It's a 5'2" Australian. It's-
Wearing a
These
wearing a
so
pair of
it's funny
Wilts.
for me. I have those. I have really connected memories of one play that I feel like I practiced and practiced, which was the reverse layup, drive to the baseline behind the defense and do the
Oh,
reverse layup. Yeah,
yeah, right. So
yeah.
you tuck around them and come in under the hoop. Is that the idea?
That's it. That's it. And that was the
Wow.
last time that move was ever successful for me, and that's why I became a world famous trombonist. Obviously, but the question you asked, I do have the trophy, and again, it's gone all the different places with me. It's lost an arm and a few things off it.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
but the reason I found it again is I think the kids had found it in the shed at some point, and it had made it to the kids' bathroom, and it was hosting a bunch of hair ties. So the arms that were rinsed out,
Oh, that's I'm looking
the
at my little man now. I could have put some hair ties over that
hair
for the kids.
ties. Yeah. So you don't even realize that your trophies years later become trinkets for other uses. So
Or
there's
yeah, or elastic bands or something. That's a great
something
idea.
deep in that. So I guess for me, coming into the parenting journey, we knew, the birth of a child, that's a thing. and people
Yep.
come to your house or they come to the hospital, and that was the first time I realized you had to make rules for people to follow as to how to
Mm.
mark the occasion. And you would say, please visit in these hours, and please only bring this kind of thing. And by the way, if there's suddenly there's all these measures around how to celebrate, and that was probably the first time I really understood what it was to have to almost construct a way of people engaging in the moment with us.
Did you find that I'm digressing slightly,
Always.
but did you find that as you had more and more children, that the "please come over" sign between these hours and "do not ring the doorbell when you come to the door" slowly vanished as you got to child 3, 4, and 5?
I mean, yeah, look, there's a few things that happened. One, your first child is almost like an achievement. Everybody
Yeah,
around you is like, wow, they had a child. And it is true that as the journey goes, it's and culturally around the world, the first child just has if you're a first child, read a Steve Goodoff
yeah,
book about birth order and all that sort of stuff.
yep,
It's something. It's something the community understands. And so I feel like as our house got busier, we more, especially when the twins arrived, we more were saying, please don't come over.
yeah,
Because we could barely manage ourselves, let alone
yeah, yeah,
hosting
yeah.
people in our home. So that's where we asked for lots and lots of grace. And I think mostly, look, if we did offend people, we wouldn't have known because we were completely in a blur anyway. But I know that the kids do talk about their birth order at times, and they do talk about, they have the kid thing about you're the favorite and you're not the favorite and I'm the favorite. So I've got my favorite daughter. That's easy because I have one daughter.
You got one, yep.
And so I say to the kids, you're my favorite today based on, whatever it is you've done for me, obviously. Uh, so yeah, so the rules definitely did change over time, but also um, I think there was also an awkwardness at times for people coming over. There were times people came over and they felt like by buying a gift for the twins who didn't know they were getting a gift, they also
Yep.
had to buy gifts for the other three as well in their
Of course.
house. So we had to give people permission. Like, you don't have to just bring a fruit basket, bring nothing. I don't care. It's not,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
In terms of these big moments and these, we talk about moments of birthing that are big moments. What are the ones that are facing your house at the moment? You've got such a span of ages of kids from,
yeah.
18 to kind of 8.
Mm.
What are the moments coming up for your kids that you think you want to tell them this is a big moment that you're going to be talking about in 30 years' time?
So I think we got our first kid graduating from high school this year. Um, so the graduation and the process thereafter. So we're sort of thinking about, do I do it like a father-son trip with him, to sort of
Nice.
mark that. We've got
Just to Coles? You thinking just pop down to Coles, father,
yeah.
son?
Well, I was thinking if I gave him $5 and let him spend it on just whatever he wanted, like no rules. You can buy
You can buy
whatever.
2 Snickers if you want with that.
Two Snickers. Well, yeah, two Snickers is still over the $5 limit now. So
Yeah, you gotta wait for him to come on special, but that's okay, mate. It's about patience.
I took him down the bank and I said, if you invest this tuppence, then I sang him a little song and took my top hat off, and then Mary Poppins came in and fixed the whole thing. It was good. But there are those things where I'm like, am I supposed to do something? Because you realize our culture doesn't actually have a lot of definitive rhythms to it anymore. One of
Mm,
the things this generation is being told over and over again is that you are missing ceremony from your lives, and we've kind of done away with ceremony in lots and lots of areas. But one of the things I'm finding more and more is trying to find those anchor points of celebration and sorrow. Essentially, where are they? How do you do it? Even what's an appropriate amount of money to spend on different things, because I find there are people that seem to be able to celebrate with doing simple things. And then there are others that seem to celebrate by doing, very expensive things, and you're trying to find, I don't know what matters. So I think what I've tried to do is ask the kids what's important. Um, so I do try and get to the school concert. I do try and get to, like this year we had, Luca did the school play. They did Matilda Junior, and they worked on that for months and months and months. And so to be able to show up to the opening night, and of course, a school play has a run of 4 shows. It's a
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
quick
yeah,
run,
yeah. You
So
went to all
opening
4
night is
probably.
Wednesday, closing night is Saturday. That's it.
Yeah, correct.
So, but even then, Jody and I had this conversation. Are we supposed to go to opening and closing? Like, do we need 2 tickets? What do we
Yeah.
do? So we went and we gave him some flowers, and the
Ah,
family story. I mean, he did an incredible job. He'd learnt all this choreography, and it was a lovely moment of, I didn't know my kid could do that. It was that
yeah.
sort of experience, but we marked that. I think one of the benefits we have now, in, again, social media, as yucky as it can be, um, I like that I have photos that come up yearly now to remind me of the thing that we did. Because, like you, I forget. I forget
Yeah.
what we've done. You've got Warren, I've got my wife, and a couple of others that remind me of things. We did that thing. We actually
Yep.
did. Yeah. I don't. For you though, do you ever feel like this is my big question for probably all the dads. It feels like sometimes you don't know how to measure effort to outcome.
Oh, gosh. I mean,
You
that's a
you you strike me as a thinker that comes to, you strike me as a very sensitive person who does you pay close attention to the people around you, and you try to read the play. So, but do you
hmm.
find ever that you just, I don't know what the question is, but do you find you get a bit exhausted by making the effort?
I think ultimately we all like to please people. Some of us are just a little bit more at the front of that than others. But yeah, I think, I have to find the balance as, particularly being a single dad, of when I go, that's the thing that I need to make sure I attend or I go to for my kid,
Mm.
versus the thing that I go, I know they want me to do that and they want me to be there, but I
Yeah.
just can't and I'm not going to be able to be. And sometimes you get that wrong. And yeah, hopefully more times than not I get it right.
So just to tap into that for a second, you're in a co-parenting situation where you and your ex actually get along and cooperate, right?
Yep,
Which is not always the case. So
correct.
for you, how did you find that? Was there a season where only one parent could go, or only one? Do you know what I mean? The kind of season where you're trying to get the balance right for the other adult as well. You're trying to,
Yeah, and
you
I think
both want to
that's
be at the same thing, but you shouldn't be in the same room.
yeah, I think it's I don't think there was ever necessarily a moment of not wanting to be in the same room, but I think, when you are I mean, any parent really, when you've got multiple children, you're trying to go, well, if we go to that, if we both want to go to that, what do we do with the other kids that can't come with us?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
there's the practicality of things. I
Mm.
just went to something literally last Friday night, which was the first time that my oldest son has allowed me to attend something that he was performing in. And
Allowed you. I love that. I love that.
I,
That's a big
I
deal. The kid
I
let me do it.
literally snuck into the last one that he did at his school. He didn't know
Yeah.
I was there. I waited out in the foyer for an hour and a half because I knew he would see me sitting in the audience because he was behind stage. So when he went up on stage, I snuck in, I sat down, I saw his performance, and I left. And to this day, I've never told him that I was there.
Okay. So which child are we admitting this to right now on air?
And none of the above. No, not mentioning that. But on Friday night, he allowed me to come and see his performance,
Oh,
and
that's so lovely.
he was playing drums in the band, it's the school band, and being a drummer as well, he was actually
A
really
drummer,
chuffed to
a
have
drummer
me
of
there.
some renown too.
He is, yeah. and I think the next, and then he's got another one in 2 weeks' time, and I actually said to him, "Hey, mate, how about the next one? Mum gets to go, and I won't because she hasn't seen you perform." And I
Mm.
have. And he says, "Yeah, but I
Yeah.
really want you to go because you're a drummer and I'd really love you to see me perform again." And I said, "Yeah, I get that, but we both can't go because what are we going to do with the other boys?" And I said, "And mum hasn't
Mm.
seen you. So
Mm.
is that cool?" And he's like, Yep, yep. Now, I know that he will remember those moments. I don't think he'll specifically remember the day and the night and the performance and whatever. But I know that in 10 years' time, when he looks back, he's going to remember those early performances that he did and the feeling that he had, because it's all about the feeling it creates for him.
So I pick up on that because I often say to Dad, even as a middle-aged man now, there was a difference between Mum and Dad being at the thing for me. And I actually try to ask my own kids sometimes. It's almost like probably what you've just suggested. It's almost like I ask them, if we have to divide and conquer, if Mum and Dad both can't come or whatever it happens to be,
Yeah,
who would you like there? And of course,
yeah,
they don't really want to answer. They, no, we don't mind. But when it comes to an art show, your mother's the artist.
yeah,
You probably want her there. When you come to a musical performance, maybe you want me there, and
yeah,
and some variation in between. I find when I look back, and I often reflect to Dad. Dad was much better at, so I'd write a song or play some music or whatever. Dad has much more of an absorbed listening. Like he will stop and listen and
mm,
pick up on the nuance of things. And Mum's more of your encourager. That was great. That was great.
yeah, right.
Which is fine, but it's not detailed. It doesn't. So actually, it's one of those weird things of there are particular types of feedback you want from the different parts of your family.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I find that sometimes, like, um, we go to the basketball now and we watch the under 10s play, and my wife finds it almost too stressful at times to be there because you just want all the kids to have a great experience and for it to be
yeah,
fantastic,
right.
and and of course I've been the coach on the bench with the kids, trying to
Yeah,
guide them through the game, so it's much more of an instructive directive kind of feedback that I'm giving them. So the type of feedback often matters, and then marking the occasion really matters. So for me, one of the common ones amongst parents is after the thing, we're going to Macca's, or we're going to the park, or there's a thing after the thing that marks the
yeah,
occasion that just
yeah,
extends the experience. Um, and I heard recently there's all parents are trying to parent teenagers better at some point. If you've got a teenager and you're trying to get them to talk, you're trying to get to understand them. Uh, in the moment, it's really hard to ask a very direct question, get a simple answer. But if you can create time and space to have an open-ended conversation where you ask open-ended questions, how did that feel? How did that go for you? Um, talk about the price of tea in China. Doesn't matter. Just talk about anything, just to get them flowing, get them talking. The parenting strategy for me has always been do something after the thing,
mm.
because the thing after the thing is going to give me the time to understand what they felt and what happened for them.
Yeah, it extends that moment, doesn't it? When you can, we did on Friday night after we he did his music performance, the first one he'd allowed me to go and see. When we got in the
Yeah,
car to leave, I said, "Hey man, you want to go get some Hungry Jacks on the way home?" He hadn't had dinner. It's like eight
yeah,
o'clock at night, Friday
yeah,
night. I said, "I'll grab some Hungry Jacks," and we got Hungry Jacks. And I said, "Why don't we eat in? Why don't we sit down rather than jump back in the car and drive up the highway and try and eat your
yeah,
food?" And we sat there, and that was that moment to just kind of talk a bit more about the performance. And he was sort of on a bit of a high, and so was
yeah.
able to do exactly what you said. We extended that moment into, that meal that we shared
Mm.
together, that we were able to unpack the performance, talk about future performances, talk about things that he wants to do in the future, and really so into that encouragement.
The thing I love about that story, man, is it didn't take a lot more time out of your day.
No.
Your day was already over, and you were just like, "We've got to eat anyway." You go home, you're gonna, maybe have to make something, make dishes, and then the conversation will be about let's all do the dishes, and the kid doesn't want to. So it's that kind of. I always talk to people about reducing friction in
Mm.
in relationship. Some of the ways you can reduce friction is, yes, it might be $2 cheaper or $5 or $10 cheaper to eat at home that night. But if you consider the extra $10 you're going to spend on a burger and chips for your kid, which means you won't have to do the dishes and do the cooking and do the things at home, and you're going to get some one-on-one time with the child, that's gold. That's absolute gold, that stuff.
Absolutely, and I think for those of us who've got, in particular, teenage boys, and maybe teenage girls, but I don't have one, but
Mm.
teenage boys who don't wanna openly talk, who it's
Yeah.
hard to get information out of them, when you see this kinda crack in the door, you kinda go, "Oh, I'm sticking my foot and my leg and my whole body through that door, and we're gonna take it for all we can, because I know that I'm about to get
Yeah.
pushed out, the door's gonna get slammed shut again, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna enjoy that moment and try and not, trying to not panic over that moment and go, "Oh my goodness, he's talking, let's talk," and then you start saying stupid stuff. Just
Mm.
trying to enjoy it and just go, "Hey, I'm here with my mate. He's 16. He's one of my great mates, my son, and
Mhm.
we're just gonna hang out together and talk and be mates and talk about music. The easiest topic for us to talk about that's so non-confronting, and we can argue about things, and it's okay to argue about it because it's just an opinion,
Yeah.
and it's a really nice thing. And so the moment of him performing allows that conversation to happen, which is, yeah,
One of the ways I think we mark there's a beautiful memory I have of my middle son Ari and his team, his basketball team a couple of seasons ago. They were all good mates. The coach was a lovely bloke, and but they'd had a terrible season. They weren't going to make the finals, and they had this final 2-game run to the end of the season. And their coach said, all right, so in under 12s, I think it was at the time, 3-pointers don't count. You can shoot from 3-point, but you're not getting 3 points for it. You only get 2 points. Which, of course, they all, they're all growing up and they're like, this is a stupid rule, because they're watching Steph Curry and they're like, I should be shooting
yeah,
three.
yeah,
So anyway, Simon, their coach, says to them, look, whoever hits a three gets a donut. There was nothing to gain. They weren't going to make the finals. So they
yeah.
start pinging threes. And Ari, so they had to hit at least 1 3, and then the coach would shout the ball donuts.
Oh
Ari's
right.
first shot, sunk a three,
Oh my
and then
goodness.
he sunk another one. And so not only did we all went out afterwards, and us dads and the kids, we all went out. And I think there was just the parents and the kids, and we went to one of those Daniel's Donuts places where the specialist donuts with the extra things on top, and but he still talks about that because what marked the
Mm,
moment, they didn't, I don't even know that they won the game. It didn't matter to them.
yeah,
It was, they had 3 minutes to go. The coach gave them a challenge, and the challenge was really about building camaraderie. That's all it was.
yeah,
No one was getting a certificate. But he talks about that all the time. And I mean, we don't always strike on gold like that, but that was an absolute gold moment for him and for me
yeah,
because he realized he loved to shoot from outside, and it was a skill that the coach mostly discouraged. Don't do that; it doesn't count in this game. So got to show a skill that he had,
yeah.
uh, and they all got to celebrate and slap high fives and whatever, and it made a season where they didn't even make the final one of the most memorable seasons they've had.
Yeah, isn't that great? Gosh, it's funny. One quick story from me as we sort of wrap up. But I was thinking about these moments that kids have, and that's a great example of one. But the same oldest son, toward the end of this year, is meant to do 3 days of city experience where they go into the
Hmm.
city. But this year they're staying at Melbourne Uni for the nights in between. So they actually go
Wow.
Wednesday, come home Friday, stay at Melbourne Uni. And he's like, I don't want to go. Sounds boring, not interested. And I said, mate, you know what? When you finish school and you look back on your time at school,
Mm.
it won't be what you did in the 3 days because you didn't go to camp that you'll remember. But you go to city experience, you will remember going into the city, staying at Melbourne Uni for 3 days. You might not remember the details of it, but it'll be etched in your brain forever. You'll
Yeah.
remember that experience. And when you look back at your time in high school, you're looking for what are the moments that you will remember, that you'll remember for the rest of your life.
Hmm.
And, I talk about those moments with him that I would remember from my high school days. So trying to encourage our kids,
Mm.
particularly as dads, to encourage our kids to, because they don't know their moments.
No.
We know that they're moments for them, but we need to encourage them to have those moments. And that's what I found. He was really receptive to it and said, "Yep, I think you're right, Dad. I'm probably going to go."
That's so amazing. I think everything that we're learning about mental health at the moment, the thing that I keep hearing over and over is movement is good for mental health. So the thing that we default to, the vice of I don't want to go out, I don't want to be with the people, I don't want to mark the occasion. Usually that has to do with some sort of insecurity. I don't want
Yeah,
to stand out. I don't want to be measured.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
want my community to say I'm a winner or a loser. If I don't leave the house, no one can tell me I'm good or bad. I'm just
yeah,
whatever. So what you're trying to do is say, yep, the community around you will measure you. Um, but here's a way to almost encourage yourself. Go, go somewhere, do something, take the dog for a walk. Movement is good for mental health. And what I love about some of the experiences, I learnt that the occasions that were marked for me were the school play, where there was 40, 50 people in the room celebrating the hooray, we did a play. Who knows if it was any good, but at the end of it, everyone just thought they were the greatest person in the world, and
yeah,
it was a group dynamic. The graduating class or the muck-up day at year 12, whatever it happened to be, the thing that said, we're all doing this together, the event, I know certainly as a musician, some of the greatest things were we would do at the end of Gospel Music Fest, Easter Fest, there was often a combined band kind of moment, and you'd sing together, and it was amazing. So I think the thing that I keep encouraging or trying to encourage myself is get out of the house, get up and try again. It could be worth it. It's not that it absolutely will be, but what you and I are saying is, mate, it could be. This could be a moment. You never know, because like I said, I don't have the certificates on the wall. I don't have the medals. I don't have the things shown because there's some sort of, again, I'll talk to my therapist about it. But there is something about marking these occasions where with our children they remember these little moments and they may have a little token to remember it. For you, you've got that little basketball trophy, that little basketball medallion, and it reminds you of a moment, reminds you of a season in your life. Maybe dad was cheering on the sideline, but there was a moment where a personal achievement was shared with the community around you. And I think when it comes to, graduations and little aths, little aths medals and your first tooth falling out, your first day, your last day, your grand final, whatever it happens to be. There actually are hundreds of these little moments throughout each year, I guess. And I think what we're saying is take the time to take a few extra moments, extend the moment, let yourself absorb it, take a deep breath and go, we just did something good. Something good just happened. And let's talk about how good the something good was. So milestones are important, of course they are. There's actually lots of, even when I'm teaching from the pulpit, I often talk about the way the scriptures point out to mark occasions, to put even stones in place that remind you when you come to this land and you see that stone that you put in place, that reminds you that there was a victory there. There's all of these reasons to mark time, to mark places, and so many of us feel like we're failing at this. We feel like we're failing at we've missed the grad, or we missed the concert, or we could maybe there's family dynamics that means you can't all be in the same place. Maybe there's separation because you're a parent that travels for work and you can barely be there. But when you get the moment, give yourself time to take a breath and extend the moment. It can be as simple as we went and got a burger afterwards and got to talk about the thing that happened. We went for a drive for a bit longer. We stopped and we just sat by the river and had a Coke together, whatever it happens to be. Not everything can be reminded to us by a medal or a certificate or some sort of prize. In fact, very few of the moments in my life are remembered to me by that. They are the moments that I think about when love was shared, when care was shared, and where relationship was built. And, a lot of that does happen to have a lot to do with growing up barracking for a team that won the grand final every year, and we could talk about that. Heath, you don't have as many of those memories, do you? By
I
the way, for all
do.
those missing that this is a non-visual media, I just held up 2 DVDs of Hawthorn's premierships in 2014 and 2015 and 2013 as well. They're all there. They marked moments by meaning that I could go to school and boast about my team.
In 2014 and 15. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't boasted about it for a while.
I love you, brother.
Love you, man. hey, let's mark this occasion by making sure that this podcast goes to air and we can play it forever and ever.
That sounds like a great plan.
Love you, man. See you on the next one.
See you, man.